The clock above the counter struck 11:45 p.m. The small gas station store off Route 66 was nearly empty, except for the hum of the refrigerator and the faint sound of country music playing from an old radio. Emily, a 22-year-old college student, was finishing her late-night shift. She stacked the last few candy bars, locked the cash register, and sighed with relief. It had been a long day, and she was looking forward to heading home. Just as she reached for her bag, the door chimed. The bright light from outside cut through the dim store as three men walked in, their boots heavy on the tiled floor. They smelled of cigarettes and cheap beer, and their laughter carried a sharp edge. Emily forced a polite smile. "Sorry, we're closed for the night," she said, trying to sound confident. The tallest one, a man with a scar across his cheek, smirked. "Relax, sweetheart. We just need a drink. Won't take long." His two friends spread out, pretending to browse the shelves, but Emily could feel their eyes on her. "I've already shut the register," she replied nervously. "Please come back in the morning." Her words only made them bolder. One of the men leaned across the counter, his voice low and mocking. "You sure you can't do us a little favor?" Emily stepped back, clutching her phone. "Please leave." But before she could dial 911, the scarred man snatched the phone from her hand and tossed it onto the counter. "Don't be like that, sweetheart. We're just talking." Her heart pounded. The store was empty, or so she thought. In the back corner, four bikers from the Iron Justice Motorcycle Club sat finishing their late-night coffee. They had been riding since afternoon and stopped at the store to rest. Their worn leather jackets bore the club's insignia, a winged skull with the words Iron Justice stitched in bold red. When they heard the raised voices, one of them, Tank, lifted his head. "That didn't sound friendly," he said quietly. The biggest biker, Razor, pushed back his chair, the sound echoing like thunder across the small store. The thugs froze when they saw them, four massive men in leather staring coldly in their direction. Razor's shadow stretched across the floor as he stepped forward. "You boys got a problem here?" he asked in a low, rumbling voice. The scarred man's smirk faded. "We were just leaving," he muttered, backing up. Tank crossed his arms. "Good idea, 'cause if you're not, you'll wish you had." The three thugs bolted out the door without another word, their laughter gone, replaced by fear. Emily stood behind the counter, trembling. Razor picked up her fallen phone and handed it back to her gently. "You all right, kid?" She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Thank you. I thought I was alone." Tank gave a small smile. "You weren't. Not tonight." As the bikers left, the sound of their engines echoed through the night. A reminder that sometimes the most unexpected protectors ride on two wheels. The next morning, the sun rose over the quiet Arizona highway, painting the sky gold and pink. Emily hadn't slept much. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the faces of those men and the way the bikers had stood between her and danger. She replayed their words. "You weren't alone," and felt a strange comfort. Determined to thank them properly, she baked a batch of homemade cookies and packed them into a small tin. By noon, she returned to the store for her next shift, hoping the bikers might pass by again. Hours went by, and the day unfolded like any other. Customers coming and going, the steady hum of the cooler filling the air. Then, just before sunset, the sound of motorcycles rumbled in the distance. Emily's heart jumped. The deep growl grew louder until four gleaming bikes pulled into the parking lot. It was them, Tank, Razor, and the rest of the Iron Justice MC. As they dismounted, a few regular customers froze, staring nervously. The men's black leather jackets and tattoos drew attention wherever they went, but Emily wasn't afraid. She hurried outside, holding the tin. "Hey!" she called, smiling. "I was hoping I'd see you guys again." Tank raised an eyebrow, surprised. "Didn't think you'd want a bunch of bikers showing up twice in 1 week?" Emily laughed softly. "You saved me." "The least I can do is say thank you." She handed him the tin of cookies, her hands trembling slightly. Razor took it and opened the lid. "Homemade?" She nodded. "My grandma's recipe." The big man grinned. Then these are probably the best we've had in months. The bikers leaned against their bikes, talking with her as the sun dipped low. Emily learned they weren't the dangerous men people often assumed. They were veterans, mechanics, and family men who rode to raise money for children's hospitals. "People think we're trouble," Tank said, sipping his coffee. "But we've seen enough real trouble to know better. That's why we don't let guys like those punks scare folks." Emily smiled, her fear from the night before melting away. "Well, I'm glad you were here. I don't know what would have happened if you weren't." Tank looked at her kindly. "You handled yourself better than you think, kid. Takes guts to stand your ground." As they chatted, a police cruiser pulled into the lot. The officer inside waved at Tank and nodded. "We got those guys," he said through the window. "Turns out they'd hit 2 other stores. You helped us catch 'em." Emily's eyes widened. "Really?" Tank nodded. "See? You did good." The bikers climbed back onto their motorcycles, ready to ride again. Before they left, Razor tipped his helmet toward her. "If anyone ever messes with you again, you call Iron Justice. We got your back." Emily watched them disappear down the highway, the roar of their engines fading into the evening wind. That night, as she locked up the store, she didn't feel scared anymore, just grateful. Heroes, she realized, don't always wear badges. Sometimes they wear leather and carry justice in their hearts.